On this week, Nick, that absolutely blew my mind. Everybody said, Pastor Nick, have you looked at the new internet craze that's going on called "Do It for the Vine"? I said no. I said no. I said I ain't seen it. I said I ain't got time for it. I said I ain't seen it. They said no. You got to look at it. You got to look at it, Pastor Nick. I said because it's something amazing. I said okay. So I looked at this little girl, and she was up there. When you get a chance to go home, look at it. The little girl was up there. She said, "They said do it for the vine." Then she said, "I ain't gonna do it." Then she said, "Do it for the vine." I ain't gonna do it. But she found herself continuing to dance and say, "I ain't gonna do it." But she continued to say she gonna do it for the vine. And y'all know me, y'all been with me for a while. Y'all know that y'all are in a revelatory house, amen, dealing with a revelatory preacher. So I looked at it, and at first looking at it, Marcus, it kind of, no, ain't nothing God in that. I said, no, ain't nothing God in that. Kendra, I'll be honest, I said, ain't nothing God in that. But God began to deal with me on a deeper level. He said, look closely. I said, look, I said, okay, God. I said, we're going to look closely. He said, look very closely. She said, she's doing it for the vine. I said, okay, God. He said, remember who I am. I said, okay. I said, I know who you are. I said, I know you're Jehovah Jireh. I know you're my provider. I know you're God. I know you're Elohim. I know your peace. I know your happiness. I know your grace. I know you're all things to me. I know you're a bill payer. I know you're a miracle worker. He said, yeah. He said, do a little bit more research, Wesley. Do a little bit more research of who I am. I said, yes, you're the creator. You're Mary's baby. You came through a virgin. I know. No, he said, no. He said, no, do a little research. He said, do a little bit more research. I said, I know about you, Jesus. You're my friend. You're my lover. You're my everything. You're everything that I need. Everything I desire. He said, no, boy, hush your mouth. He said, and go to John chapter 15. I said, okay. He said, remember who I am. I said, okay, God. I said, don't play with me. He said, okay, God, look at John 15. I said, God, I don't see nothing. He said, look at the first verse of John 15 to verse number 1. John chapter 15, verse number 1. He said to tell them, he said, read verse 1. It says, I am the vine. I said, okay, God. I said, I forgot. I said, God, don't blame me. I forgot. You are the vine. I said, okay, God. He said, so every time they were saying, doing it for the vine, he said, I wasn't upset at all. He said, I had to remind them of how to get praise and worship back into the atmosphere. I said, okay, God. He said, I had to remind them that as they were saying this phrase, that I was reintroducing myself back to the world. I said, really? He said, because everybody ain't going to come to God through down at the cross, my gentle Savior. I wish I had somebody here. Everybody not don't come to God through Lord, I lift your name on high. And come on here. But somebody gonna come to God through this video through I am the vine. God, I wish I had somebody here. But God told me to tell everybody in this house that whether you believe it or not, that God will use secular stuff to bring a holy message. Because they say, don't get it twisted, baby. When the babies were saying, I'm doing for the vine, and they could not control themselves as they continue to say, I do it for the vine. They said, I ain't going to do it, but they kept doing it. Why? Because when you think of the goodness of Jesus, you try to stop moving. But the grace and mercy of God that's on your life will not allow you to stop moving for God. We're going to have a little church. High five your neighbor and say, I do it for the vine. God, I wish I had a church here. High five your neighbor and say, neighbor, I do it for the vine. Some of you ain't talked to your neighbor yet. Talk to your neighbor. God gonna bless you and tell him I do it for the vine. God, watch here. Watch this. There are, let's get deeper. Somebody shout, let's go deeper. Let's go deeper. Somebody shout, let's go deeper. Let's go deeper. There are certain fruits that come from the vine. Can I talk here for a few moments? There are a couple of fruits that come from the vine. First fruit that comes from the vine is grape. Grapes are derived from the vine. The next thing that comes from the vine are honeydew melons. I don't like them. Y'all like them? I don't really. Y'all like them honeydew melons. You like that? Honeydew melons come from the vine. Also, because I love spaghetti, tomatoes come from the vine. Yes, Lord. The pumpkin comes from the vine. And also kiwi comes from the vine. Also passion fruit comes from the vine. So there's some stuff that is released from the vine that does not come from anything else. God, touch your neighbor and tell your neighbor, say, does not come from anything else. You can't get a grape to come from a tree. This one for 10 to give God praise. Stop trying to get stuff out of stuff that can't produce what you need. Oh, y'all dismiss what I said. Y'all dismiss what I said. Touch your neighbor and tell you, say,